يا أمة الإسلام بشرى لن يطول بك الهوان قد لاح فجرك باسما فلترقبي ذاك الزمان.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If you are benefiting from these videos, please do share them with others who may benefit from them. Like them, leave a comment to say one thing what you learned from this video, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. This dream I had in 2012 when I was in prison in the UK, and at the time I had been held in prison without trial for 8 years, and I was facing extradition to the United States of America to spend possibly the rest of my life in prison there. It came to my attention that there was a friend of mine who was a childhood friend, and he was in prison in another country. So this friend of mine, I sort of grew up in the same area as him, but we hadn't been in contact for many years. Maybe like 30-40 years had gone by. We hadn't been in contact. When I found out that he was in prison, then I wrote to him and we began to write to each other. And we were sharing stories of our childhood, and we were sharing reflections on prison and Islamic reflections we were sharing. Now, he had been caught up in something. He was innocent, and he was later found to be innocent. And he was fighting to clear his name, but he had been in prison for a few years at that time. And the country that he was in, the prison conditions were quite difficult at that time. So what happened is, we're writing to each other. Then one night I saw a dream. I saw a dream that he's in a coffee shop, and he calls me, and I go there and I sit and I have coffee with him. So he's already in one place in the coffee shop, and then I go to that coffee shop and I sit down and we have a coffee together. So I wrote to him and I told him, I said, if this dream is true, and inshallah it will be true, you're going to come home first, and then I'm going to come home and we are going to meet. And this is someone I hadn't met for you can say for decades. So that was the end of the dream. A few months after that, there was some miraculous change in his circumstances, and he got cleared of all the allegations against him, and he left prison with his head held high as an innocent man, as a free man. 3 years later, I came home. My case was resolved. So I went to America a few months after that dream. I went to America and I spent 3 years in America, and then I came home. A couple of years went by, and I came home one day, and my mum said that, oh, so-and-so, he called for you, and he's in a coffee shop in our area, and he's waiting for you, and he didn't have your number, and here he's left his number, and just go there and meet him. So my friend, he somehow got the number of my mum, because we hadn't been in touch for so many years, and he said, come and meet me. So I went there and I met him, and the dream came true. 3 reflections from this story. The first one is about friendships and old friendships. Old friendships are the best, because with old friends, people that knew you as a child and that you knew as a child, you can be yourself. You know, we live life with various fronts. We have a front for the family, then we have a front for our friends, then we have a front for our work colleagues, then we have a front for our neighbors. And we're trying to juggle and play these different roles, not with bad intention all the time. Sometimes, but it's normally with good intention. But when you are in the company of old friends that you knew since childhood and they knew you since childhood, you can be yourself. Maybe now you've become a big person. Maybe you've become like a senior government official. Maybe you've become a rich person. Maybe you've become a successful athlete or a sportsman. maybe you become someone really successful and people treat you or look at you in a different way. But with old friends, you can be yourself because they know you and for who and what you are. Not all the time, because people do change. This has happened to me where people that I knew from my childhood have turned around and scammed me, for example. But normally it's the case that most people that you know and that have been your friends for a long time, those friendships are amongst the best friendships. And there's something I have for you to do. I have some homework for you to do today. Find a friend that you knew in your childhood. Think of a friend that you knew in your childhood and at that time you were close to them. Try to reconnect with them. Just a phone conversation or even some messages. Have a phone conversation with them, or get on a video call with them, or meet them if you can, and just talk about your childhood. And you will find that it really rekindles some happiness in you. The second lesson, sometimes when we see a good dream, we have to make efforts for that dream to come true. There's a relative of mine who made Hajj last year, and she told me that a few years before that, she saw in a dream that she was making Hajj with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she knew at some point she's going to make Hajj, and every year since then she tried to make Hajj. She tried to go on Hajj. She wasn't able to do so, but last year she was able to do so, and that dream came true. I told my friend that dream, and that's why he called me. He went to the coffee shop, he got my number, and he called and he left a message for me that I'm waiting for him. Tell him to come and meet me there. If Allah shows you a good dream, maybe He shows you you're building a mosque. Maybe He shows you that you're reading the Quran, or you're giving charity, or you're helping someone, or you're visiting someone sick, or any good action that you see yourself doing. Take steps to make that action come true. You find that you're meeting a certain person that you haven't met for like many years. Maybe Allah wants you to meet that person for a reason. So sometimes we have to make efforts also for that dream to come true. The third lesson, think of the people that are in your life right now, other than relatives. Think of your friends. Think of acquaintances. Think of people that you sort of met by chance, maybe in a shop, maybe in a sports match, maybe in a mosque just by chance, and then you connected and you became friends. Those people are not in your life by chance. Those people are in your life because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants them to be in your life. In a hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the souls are like recruited soldiers. That means that, so you see in an army, you have regiments, you have platoons, you have brigades, you have groups where people are in part of a same unit and they're doing the same job, or their thinking is the same. So in the same way, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants you to connect with someone, He will put that person in your life. And I found that even in the worst places I went to, every prison that I went to, I found people that I could get on with and that I could become good friends with, because their personalities or their sense of humor or their character or their outlook on life or their worldview was something that was very similar to mine. So those people that are in your life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put them there for a reason. And sometimes you find someone who you didn't even know. You may have just discovered in your adult life, you didn't even know that person, and now you become really good friends. And that is because your souls are similar, and there's something that that person has that you can benefit from, and there's something that you have that that person can benefit from. So it's not by chance. Relationships are not by chance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He designs them and He puts people in touch with each other, like with like. That was today's dream. If you benefited from it, please share it with someone who may also benefit from it. Please leave a comment telling me one thing that you learned from in this video, and until the next one, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أمة الإسلام بشرى لن يطول بك الهوان قد لاح فجرك باسما فلترقبي ذاك الزمان. يا أمة الإسلام بشرى لن يطول بك الهوان، قد لاح فجرك باسما فلترقبي ذاك